Dear students, here are some important questions about Rdbms subject, BCom second year, first semester. So, Unit 1, the question from Unit 1 is, the first question is advantages or components of DBMS over file system. So, first we have to explain, so what is file system, what are the file system, what are the drawbacks which are available in file system. So, we have to explain and what are the benefits when I am using the DBMS. So, that we have to explain in this question. So, next question is, what is the key and the different types of keys. First, you have to write out the definition. Okay, a key is an attribute. Okay, or set of attributes that are used to identify the each row of a table uniquely. Okay, and after writing the definition of the key, and you have to explain all the keys like a primary key, foreign key, candidate key, super key, all the keys which are present in DBMS. We have to explain all the keys now. Next, we have to explain about the DBA functions and roles. Okay, next question is entity relational model. It is also called as ER model. So next one more question, that is called as difference between the DBMS and Rdbms. So we have to compare the DBMS and Rdbms both. Next, what are the functions of DBMS and explain in detail. So next question is, what is the write about the various data models. So you know what is the different types of models are there. Relational data model is there, network data model is there, and hierarchical network model and object oriented model. So we have so many different types of models are there. We have to explain about all these models now. So when it is comes to the unit 2, we have two questions are there from unit 2. One is normalization and one is file organization. So first, whenever you get a normalization question, first we have to explain about normalization definition, and you know already different types of normal forms are 1NF, okay, and the next one is 2NF, next one is 3NF, okay, next one is BCNF, okay, BCNF. So we have total 4 different types of normal forms are there. So we have to explain all these normal forms with along with the examples. So generally they won't ask all the normal forms because it is a very lengthy topic. So generally what they will do, instead of asking the complete topic, they may ask first normal form or second normal form or third normal form or BCNF. So you know already normalization, every normalization concept is interlinked with each other. Suppose first normal form, okay, if suppose in exam if they ask about the second normal form, so we have to explain about the first normal form also, because all are interlinked topics. So next question, when it is comes to the second question is file organization. So what is the meaning of file organization? We have to explain about the definition. So what is the meaning of file organization? How physically, okay, the records or files are stored on onto the mapped onto the disk is known as file organization. So how whenever we create any file, so how these files are going and storing in the memory. Now that kind of arrangement we have to explain the file organization. So when you are getting the file organization, first you have to write about the definitions. After that, now we have different types of file organization methods are there. One is sequential file organization, and one is indexed sequential file organization, one is heap file organization, one is hash file organization. Just all these four file organizations definitions we have to write, and advantages and few disadvantages we have to explain. Okay, next when it is comes to the unit 3, the questions you have to write about the commands, DML commands, DDL command, and DCL commands, and TCL commands. So all DML commands, you know already, data manipulation commands like insert, update, delete. And when it is comes to the DDL command, we have to write create, alter, rename, truncate, drop. Now we have to explain all these commands with examples. So no need of writing the syntaxes, just you explain the example of this concept. Next, TCL commands, you know, grant and revoke. To DCL commands. So TCL commands are commit and rollback, save point. So all whatever the commands you are going to learn, all these commands just definitions you have to explain, and directly you can go for the examples. So next question, when it come to the unit 3, the next question is what is join. You know what is the meaning of join? A join is used to combine the two or more tables into a single table. So that is concept of join. So we have different types of joins concepts are there, like natural join, equi join, left to join, right join. All joins concept you have to explain. So you know already in joins concept, ultimately which join is important. You know the important join in joins concept is natural join is very important. You have to explain all the joins concept along with the example. So that is what we have to explain in unit 3. So next, when it comes to the unit 4, so what is database security and what are the recovery techniques? So this we have to explain in unit 3. So next to unit 4, what is lock and what are the different types of locks and two phase locking. So what is the meaning of lock? So at same time concurrency control. Why we are using the locking concept? Whenever more than one person want to access the same object, then there may be a conflict. So to avoid this conflict, what we are using the concept of locking concept. So what is the meaning of locking? So before using any object or any database object, we are keeping the lock. You know already how many types of locks are there. We have two types of lock. One is shared lock and exclusive lock, and two-phase locking. In two-phase locking also we have different types of protocols are there. We have to write about all these protocols. Then when it comes to the third question, we have to explain about the deadlock. What is the meaning of deadlock, and what are the various techniques to control the deadlock or prevention, we have to explain. So what is the meaning of deadlock? At same time, suppose two transactions we are executing at same time. The transaction T1 is holding the object A, the transaction B is holding the object B. So now in order to complete the transaction T1 required B object, which is held by T2 transaction. If you want the T2 transaction want to complete its work, T2 is required A object, which is held by T1. So T1 is not ready to give A object and T2 is not ready to give B object. So now both are in the waiting state, waiting period now. So that situation is called as a deadlock. So next comes to the next concept we have tried, and what are the how to prevent that, we have to explain. So next question is, what are the different types of database error and backup and recovery, we have to explain. So whenever you get any data crash, and how you are going to backup and recovery that methodologies we have to explain. So next question, explain database security and authorization. We have to explain about these two topics in unit 4. So when it comes to the unit 5, so what is replication? So you know what is the meaning of replication? Replication is nothing but repeating the same data at multiple sites is known as replication. So we have different types of replications are there. You know, partial replication, fully replication, and no replication. So you know already all replications concept. Just based on that, you have to explain all these topics. Okay. The next comes to the concept of fragmentation. You know what is the meaning of fragmentation and its types. So fragmentation, generally what is the meaning of fragmentation? Dividing the table into either in rows or columns is known as fragmentation or mixed fragment. You know types means what? Horizontal fragmentation, vertical fragmentation, and the next one is mixed fragmentation. All this we have to explain with an example. So next one more question from unit 5 is, what is DDBMS and advantages and disadvantages of DDBMS. So we have to explain about the distributed database management system. The definition we have tried, and advantages and disadvantages we have to explain. So the last question from unit 5 is client server architecture. So what is the meaning of client and what is the meaning of server? So why we are going to use the client server architecture? So what are the different types of client server architectures which are available? So all these topics we have to explain in this particular question. So these are the whatever the questions I explained, these are all are long answers. Now when it comes to the short answers, so only few questions are given in short answer. Just the first question is, what is the meaning of redundancy? You know what is the meaning of redundancy? Repeating the same data at multiple sites is known as redundancy. Whenever you know already data redundancy and data inconsistency both are interlinked topics. Whenever you are getting the data redundancy, definitely the data will be in inconsistent state. So you have to write about the definition of data redundancy. Next, go to the concept of referential integrity. You know already what is the meaning of referential integrity? It is related to the foreign key concept. Okay, you have to explain about the foreign key concept here. So next, when it comes to the next question is entity integrity role. So we have to write about the entity diagram related concepts. Next we have to write about the definition of SQL. What is SQL and why we are using SQL? You have to explain about the definition of. Next, what is sequencing? So what is sequence, why we are using sequence, and how to create a sequence. Just we have to write about the sequencing concept. Now next, same thing, similarly we have to use the concept of what is indexing and how to create an index and why we are using index. We have to explain about the indexing concept. Next, you know what is a nested query? What is the meaning of nested query? A query within a query is known as nested query. You know, whenever you are going to concept called as nested query, first inner query will be executed. Inner query output will be input to the outer query. That we have to explain. So what is view? You know already a view is a logical table. So how to create a view? What is a view definition we have to write, and how to create a view, and we have to explain about the view concept. So the next very important topic is clauses. You know already in Rdbms we have different types of clauses are there. Where clause, from clause, order by clause, or group by clause. All these clauses we have to explain with examples. So next, what is transaction definition we have to write. What is transaction? So we have to explain about the definition now. You know, next question is transaction and properties. You know, we have acid property. Okay, transaction properties, you know, acid property. A stands for atomicity, C stands for consistency, I stands for isolation, and D stands for durability. So we have to explain all these acid properties. Okay, and the last question is what is an attribute and different types of attributes, like single valued attribute, multi-valued attribute. Okay, derived attribute, composite attribute, prime attribute, non-prime attribute. Now these are the topics we have to explain in the attributes concept. No, these are the very important questions in RDBMS. Okay, thank you.